If you're a business owner or someone that has ever had a business entity, make sure you pay close attention because you can end up owing tens and thousands of dollars, even worse, jail time if you don't pay close attention. Grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into the details. All right, so Moneymaker, check this out. This is a major update, probably one of the biggest updates I've ever heard of in the tax game, okay? And this is going to be a game changer. So let's go ahead and break this down, talk about this big tax law, and it could literally end up owing your business up to $500 per day. All right, so make sure you stick around to the end to make sure this problem disappears for yourself and your business. All right, so what is this new tax law? What are we talking about? What's the big hype about? All right, and why should you pay close attention? All right, so all thanks to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, also known as FinCEN. They're now working hand in hand with the IRS. And basically in 2021, Congress enacted what is called the Corporate and Transparency Act to combat illegal activities, to make it hard for scammers and for people to hide behind like all these complex organizations and structures and shell companies and all that, okay? So this law is actually part of the US government's attempt to be able to really tighten the screw and really prevent all these illegal activities going on, okay? So the Corporate Transparency Act basically means that every business owner, yes, that includes you, okay, you need to report all of your business entities. And basically this report is called the Beneficial Ownership Information Report, also known as BOI. And why is this so important to you? So starting in January 1st, 2024, okay, business owners in the United States, they need to go ahead and start reporting this beneficial owners, okay? So the individuals that are basically working in your company, and that's where you need to go, okay? So in order to be able to start reporting this, you want to make sure you go to FinCEN. And basically the people who are required to go ahead and report this, according to FinCEN, are companies classified as reporting companies. So you have to make sure you include this information, the people who are beneficial owners of your organization. I'm talking about LLCs, LLPs, S corporations, C corporations, partnerships. All these are going to apply to you as well. So there are some entities that are exempt, such as public operated companies or nonprofits, but you want to make sure that you do this before the end of 2024 to make sure you're compliant and make sure you're not paying all these extra fees and penalties. But here's the kicker, okay? So if you decided to go ahead and set up a company after 2024, you now have only 30 days to go ahead and file this BOI report. It's not just a concern for people who have businesses or had entities for a long time. It could literally be for you if you're just starting off your business, just go ahead and creating this LLC of yours. So if you have multiple entities, you need to make sure that you're compliant for each and every one of them. On top of that, FinCEN and IRS are like taking this really seriously, okay? And like I said, it's probably one of the biggest changes I've heard like in the past 30 years as it relates to the tax code. They do say it's going to be a short application, so you want to make sure you're filing that correctly. But again, you want to make sure you file it on time. Again, there could be huge penalties and fees by not filing on time. It could really cost you a lot of money. You know, the fees could escalate pretty quickly, $500 per day per entity. That can go up to $10,000 per entity. And if you have one entity, you have the $500, that could be $10,000. But if you have two entities, now it could be $20,000. And here's like the real shocker, okay? So if you start like ignoring these things and not paying attention and not taking care of this, you could actually face up to 2 years of jail time. And it's crazy, okay? Why are they making such a big deal about this? Okay, so the IRS, pretty much, they just got sick and tired of being sick and tired of all these different entities and all these different people trying to create all these illegal entities. They can't figure out who's who, and basically makes it difficult for them to identify money laundering, scams, different drug trafficking, all these different things, okay? And when you look at it, there's actually over 21 million tax entities in the United States. So the Corporate Transparency Act is basically designed to make sure that the people who are creating these entities, they're actually giving their real name, their real address now, and all this personal information that you weren't necessarily required to do. And like I said, one of the reasons why they're considering doing this is they just want to create some more transparency so they're able to identify who actually runs these LLCs, who actually runs these legal entities, so they can actually investigate if they needed to do any type of legal type of investigation. Okay, so what does that mean for you? How can you ensure that you don't end up paying tens thousands of dollars, end up facing time behind bars? And I'm glad you asked me. Okay, so the first step that you want to make sure that you do is you're reviewing your entity structures. Okay, so if you have an LLC, C corporation, S corporation, LLPs, like all these different types of entities. You want to make sure you're doing this. If you are a sole proprietorship, you don't necessarily need to worry about this because a sole proprietorship isn't necessarily a business entity. Okay, so basically if you just start off in business and start making money, you're considered a sole proprietorship. But anyone who is actually registered with an LLC, okay, if you're a real estate professional, someone who's getting into real estate, then you want to make sure you're doing this as well. So this also going to be related to people who are in real estate. And one of the reasons why I believe they're doing this, on top of all the reasons that I mentioned before, all the illegal activities, is also because it's really common for people to go ahead and create business entities, legal entities outside of the state that they actually live in. So one of the things that they're looking to do is trying to make sure that people are compliant. So let's say, for instance, you live in California, you could actually go ahead and create a business entity in a different state. For instance, Nevada, Delaware, all these different states that don't necessarily have you pay state tax, and to try to avoid this franchise fee that they have to pay in California, which is like $800. So they're probably looking to find ways to be able to catch people and really make sure people are compliant. Okay, so let's get into the details on how to make sure you're protecting yourself and making sure that you're compliant. So you want to make sure that you're submitting your beneficial ownership information electronically through FinCEN's website. You can go to www.fincen.gov/BOI. The system is going to give you a receipt. Once you completed the report, the application is going to be available for January 1st, 2024 and going forward. And this is actually a warning that they stated that you want to make sure that you have a financial professional doing it correctly. Now, there's a whole bunch of people scamming out there, sending you emails, telling you that they're FinCEN. Okay, so you should not receive an email, for instance, or a letter in the mail asking you to do this. Just make sure you go to the website to make sure you get it done quickly and correctly. And if your company was registered or created on January 21st, 2024, you got to report that within 90 days of the actual business. And if the company was created or registered on January 1st, 2025, you need to file it within 30 calendar days after receiving the actual public notice that the creation of the registration is effective. So any updates or corrections to the beneficial ownership information must be submitted within 30 days. So now here's where things get a little bit tricky, okay? So you have to file the BOI report once per entity, but you must go back and update it if there's a change to your business address, personal address, or ownership changes, okay? So you only have 30 days to make sure you make these updates, and it could be a $500 penalty per entity per day, and like I said, up to $10,000 per entity or 2 years of jail time. And here's a pro tip, okay? Make sure you go ahead and get yourself a registered agent. So what is a registered agent? So in the business world, registered agent is basically like a liaison, basically a middleman between your company and the government. Think of a registered agent as like a reliable messenger or a guardian of your business, okay? So if you ever get a letter in the mail as it relates to any type of legal matters or important updates, your registered agent is going to be able to collect it from their specific address. Basically their role and their job to make sure they send that over to you as quickly as possible to make sure you are aware of the legal action that's taken against your business, okay? And if you have any business changes to the location, the registered agent is going to be sure that they're able to update the government and let the government know all the crucial documents that you need to have in place to make sure that you are right and tight for your business, okay? Also, having a registered agent is not just about following the rules. It's actually a smart way to make sure your business is organized, it's compliant, you're well informed what's happening in the legal realm. If FinCEN sends you a letter and you have a virtual address but lack like mail forwarding, you might miss it, okay? So registered agent is going to make sure that you receive all the important paperwork as quickly as possible, reducing the risk of you overlooking any important updates. In the description below, I actually have a link to help guide you to navigate all these changes to make sure you're compliant. And if you found this video useful and valuable, you're going to want to check this one out as well. This is going to be really powerful for you. So thanks for sticking around, money makers, and let's make sure our business is not only thriving but also making sure that we're compliant in this evolving tax landscape. All right, until next time, peace.